You sit down in the evening and you are not working. The day is done. And still, something won't settle. If someone asks, you will say you are fine. But fine doesn't quite explain why evenings still feel heavy. And slowly, a quiet thought creeps in. Maybe I'm just bad at resting. Maybe this is just how I am. I tried everything like earlier bedtime and even put my phone on silent mode by 9 p.m. Did all of it, but somehow I still walk into the night carrying something I couldn't name. The thing I never thought to do, not once, was look at the space I was trying to rest inside. What I eventually figured out is this. Your home is speaking to your body all day. The light, the corners, what is sitting on the counter, the scent and smell, what you see the moment you walk through the door, all of it is sending signals. And on most evenings, those signals never change from morning to night. So your body may have no reason to shift either. It wasn't a discipline problem. It was an environmental problem. And once I understood that, I stopped trying to fix myself and started paying attention to the space instead. What came out of that was 5 changes. None dramatic, not expensive, but together they gave me a home, a different language for the evening. None of them take more than 30 minutes. None of them cost much, but together they change what my evenings actually feel like. Let me walk you through all 5. And at the end, I tell you which one to try tonight. Why the room you are sitting in might be the whole problem. Let's look at your home at 8 p.m. Overhead light still on. There are same cups on the table from this morning. Bag still by the door. It looks essentially the same as it did at 8. Of course, your brain is still reading it the same way. There's a research from Princeton and UCLA that points to something most of us never consider. When there are unresolved or unfinished things in your visual field, your brain keeps quietly processing them, even when you are not consciously thinking about them. The room is not just visually busy. It is giving your mind a low-level list to keep running. So you sit there in the evening, not working, not stressed, but the space around you is still daytime, still saying there are things here, and your body stays in a kind of mild readiness, waiting for a signal that never comes. We always look inward when we can't rest. We almost never think to look at the room we are sitting in. So let me show you 5 places to look, starting with one most people walk past every single day without realizing what it is doing. You probably already know which corner I mean. Maybe there's a chair nobody sits in, a bag from a trip 3 months ago that never unpacked, a pile of things in that particular corner that all share one quality. You keep walking past them and deciding, not today. That corner is sending your brain a quiet signal every time you walk past it. Something here is unresolved, unfinished, still waiting. Even when you have stopped consciously seeing it, the brain has not stopped clocking it. I had one of these almost a year. A corner in my bedroom that I had genuinely stopped seeing. There was an old exercise mat rolled up against the wall, a bag I kept meaning to unpack properly, and a small pile of my things I told myself I would sort out on the weekend. The weekend kept coming. The corner stayed exactly the same. Until one afternoon, I finally spent 20 minutes on it, cleared it out, put one small plant there, nothing else. That evening, I sat down and noticed the room felt different, not dramatically, but quieter somehow. Like something had stopped pulling at the edge of my attention. You don't need to make it beautiful. You just need to make it finish. Your reset? Find a dead corner this week. Clear what doesn't belong. Add one thing with life. It can be a plant, a small lamp, something you actually like looking at. Make it feel chosen rather than forgotten. That's all it needs. But the corner is only what greets your eyes when you are already inside. The second change starts before you have even closed the door. Just think about what you actually see the moment you walk through your door. For a long time, the first thing I saw when I came home was shoes on the floor, unopened parcels, the small counter I would left that morning. I had not even put my bag down yet, and I already felt behind. It didn't feel like arriving. It felt like the next shift was starting. There are two parts to fixing this. The practical part first. Shoes on the rack immediately, not near it, on it. Parcels in one corner, out of the main sideline. That alone changes how the entrance reads within a few days. But the second part is the one that makes a deeper difference for me. I place a small plant on a shelf directly in my eye line from the front door. One living thing, positioned so it is the first thing I see when I walk in. It gives your eyes somewhere to rest the moment you step inside. Something that stays here rather than deal with this. And that is something that quietly shifts when you walk into a home that seems to know you have arrived. Before you have checked your phone and before you have thought about dinner, the space just says, "You are here." The day is behind you. One plant directly in your eye line from the front door. Try it. The first two changes are things you can see. The next one does not look like anything at all. And that is exactly why it works differently. Next is the sofa is where you often scroll, eat, watch things, sometimes work, occasionally nap. The bed is where you worry and try to sleep. Most of us don't actually have a spot in our home that is just for being still. I have a meditation cushion in the corner of my room. When I first put it there, I honestly was not sure what it was for. I would sit down, look at the clock, think, okay, what am I supposed to feel? And mostly just feel a bit restless. But I kept showing up to it. 10 or 15 minutes most evenings. No phone, no laptop, just sitting there and let the day calm down a little. After a few weeks, something changed. Not in me exactly, but in how that corner felt. Walking toward it started to carry a different quality. Like my body already knew what was about to happen and had started preparing before I would even sit down. That is not a spiritual thing. It is just a repetition. You go to the same place at roughly the same time with the same intention, and eventually your body stops needing to be convinced. It just follows. You don't need a meditation cushion or a particular chair, a corner of the balcony, even a specific spot on the floor with a cushion. Just somewhere that is not also used for everything else. That one asks for a little patience. You will probably feel restless for the first times. Just keep showing up to it. After a few weeks, the corner starts to carry a different feeling before you have even sat down. But the next change, you can feel it the same night you try it. I use the same bright overhead light for everything. Working, eating, watching something, trying to wind down, all under the same light. The day changed completely, the light never did. There is a research suggesting bright light in the evening keeps the body in an alert state. It is still receiving a daytime signal even when the work is finished. I remember reading that and thinking, well, that explains a lot. So now I have one habit called the after dinner switch. Once dinner is done, or whenever I can feel the working part of the day is clearly over, the overhead light goes off. I turn on a warmer lamp, dim it down, and let the room soften. 30 seconds. That is the whole thing. The shift is not immediate and it is not dramatic. I want to be honest about that. The first few evenings felt more or less the same. But by the end of the first week, something was different. The move into rest felt less something I had to push myself toward. It started arriving on its own a little earlier each evening. Small environmental changes need time to become familiar. If you try this and feel nothing after 2 days, that's normal. Keep going for a full week and notice what is different by the end of it. That one works on the light. The last one works on something your eyes cannot see at all, and it is the one I almost didn't include because it felt too small to mention. You know that feeling when you walk into a spa before you have even sat down? The room already feels different. There is something soft in the air. The light is lower, something quiet playing in the background, and within a minute or two, without deciding to, your shoulders come down. You didn't relax yourself. The room did it. I used to think that feeling only existed in spas. Then one evening, I wondered why my home could not feel like that, at least some of the time. So I bought a small diffuser and a bottle of lavender oil. That was the whole investment. I turned it on before sitting down for the evening and didn't expect much. But I did notice something specific. I stayed in the chair longer than usual. I didn't pick up my phone as quickly as before. The room felt slower. Not because anything visible had changed, just because the air felt different, quieter somehow. You can pair it with a playlist. Nothing with lyrics that grabs your attention, just something slow underneath everything else. Set the diffuser before you leave the house so the room already smells different when you walk in. They don't ask anything of you. They just shift the atmosphere before your mind has even decided how to feel. Where to start tonight of all 5? Begin with the after dinner switch. Overhead light off. One warm lamp on. That's it. Keep it that way of the rest of the evening. I will start here because the shift is something you can actually feel the same night. The room changes and your body follows. Then try it again tomorrow and the night after. Let your body meet the same signal a few evenings in a row before you decide whether it is working. Pick one of the 5, try it this week. Your home is supposed to restore you every single day. This is just one way to let it start doing that. If this resonates, subscribe. There's more of this here. And the next video is right there when you are ready. The first week those changes started to feel familiar. Nothing dramatic happened. I didn't become a different person, but the evenings feel quieter, like the space had finally stopped asking something of me. And I realized the whole time, I have been trying to change myself when the thing that needed changing was just the room I was sitting in. Thinking about walking through the door and the space already feeling different. Not because of what you did when you got home, but because of what was already there. Sitting down in a room where the light is softer, the corners are settled, and the air is different. That moment where you actually exhale. That is what a calm home feels like. And it has nothing to do with how beautiful or tidy or expensive the space is. It just means your home has learned how to change with the time of the day. And at the same point in the evening, it quietly tells you the busy part is over. It just means your home has learned how to change with the times of day. And at some point in the evening, it quietly tells you the busy part is over. May you be well, be happy, and be at peace.